What's going on, guys? It's Colin here for NextGenTactics, bringing you another episode of Guns in Training, where I analyze the gameplay of Guns for Hire and break it down and try and give him a few helpful tips and tricks to improve his Battlefield Bad Company 2 game. And before we bust into the gameplay, I wanted to address something that a bunch of you have asked on some of my previous NGT videos, and that is if I have a YouTube channel. And indeed I do. Although I post most of my content primarily here on NextGenTactics, I do have a personal channel that I post videos to as well, and that is Oplum77. Don't ask. I will someday explain where the channel name came from, but for now, the link will be in the description as well as my Twitter username. So the best way to get a hold of me is probably on Twitter, or you can try and send me messages on my YouTube account, but I normally am quite responsive to Twitter. So Guns has been training in the spawn point role, and he's been doing a pretty good job, I gotta say. You know, he moves carefully, he moves tactically, he gets into some pretty decent positions. There's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about right off the bat in this video. The first would be that he has gotten used to the AM94, and that's probably his favorite assault rifle in the game. But what I've noticed is that he bursts it very, very rapidly, regardless of the range. So he is getting some kills here, but he's not adjusting the speed of the burst for the recoil of the weapon. So what you always want to do is, with the AN94, I find no more than 2 bursts, allow the recoil and the reticle to reset on your target 2 more bursts. And I think that you'll find that you burn through a lot less ammunition shooting it like that. Right here he's actually firing at some spots in the distance. And I want to point out another quick tip that's very important in Battlefield versus Call of Duty. Now, previously there you saw that he was getting shot at. There were bullets flying through the window. Chances are he's spotted. He should have retreated. He went out for another peek and got his head taken off. He should have just relocated altogether, maybe gone downstairs, but find a new angle on your targets. You don't want to poke your head back out from cover, because in Battlefield you're spotted. So the whole team are seeing you lit up like a Christmas tree, and they're going to be taking shots at you. So that's just something to note. Now, right here, they've taken the first objective. He stands out in the sight line a little bit longer than I'd like to see right here. And although the team's successful in moving up, this first base can be very problematic if you get pushed back. So once again, I think that in this situation, especially on the first base where you're trying to come through some long lines of sight, I think that the use of smoke grenades would have been good. He is using the 40 mil grenade, which is actually a great choice for later on in this map. But in the first base, I would go for smoke. That's just my personal preference, but you know, if he is providing spawn point cover, then he wants to be able to also provide visual cover for his team. Taking down walls isn't a benefit to the attacking team, who want to be able to try and sneak in and have as much visual cover as possible. So I'd go for the smoke guns, give that a try, and see how that works out for you. Now, right here, he's going to get a kill here in a second, and that's about the longest range where I'd recommend really rapidly bursting the trigger of the AN94. And, you know, he does get the kill. He's getting plenty of kills. He's doing really well, but you tend to burn through a lot more ammunition when you rapidly burst. I think that with a tap-tap, pause, tap-tap, pause, tap-tap with this weapon, he's going to be even more successful. So I did check his statistics, and he's getting pretty close to a platinum star on this, which is great. But we're going to talk about a few things later on in the round that I'd like to see him try out in order to help round out his game and make him a threat in all ranges, because the AN94, as good as it is at mid to long range, it does not really excel in close quarters combat. So he has an excellent trigger finger. He's able to make it work, but right there, once they took the base, he should have been checking around behind him to make sure everything was clear, and then attempted to move up. But he spent quite a bit of time, I felt, out in the open, got shot in the back. So he's going to start slowly moving up here, going to get a few more kills, and he's cleaning house. So good job so far by Guns. And as we move on between the first and second base, at this point you can kind of retire the smoke grenade idea and move on to the 40 mil grenade. So, you know, what I feel wasn't necessarily the best idea, it's fine now. Right here, he posts up quite far back from the objectives, and he actually is, I don't know if he took the wall out on himself there or not. He may have, but I think that enemies are onto his position, so he should at this point retreat and try and stealthily move up closer to the objectives. Where he is right now is not providing a very advantageous spawn point, so he is resupplying, but he's taken a little bit too much time. You want to get that surprise attack off on this next base. Now, the defenders in this game were not the strongest, and they were not setting up a forward front. So because they were pushed back, his tactics are working. But I think that in almost all situations, attempting to flank a little bit more is something that I'd like to see, so that the spawn points that he starts to set up are far less predictable. So here on this second base, you can actually drop down and run along the water and get right in behind the enemies. Or, as you saw previously, as he looked up at an enemy running up over the hill, that's another decent flank route. So as he progresses through this journey of becoming a ninja spawn master, I want to see better flanking. But right here, he is not in very good cover, and he's resupplying. So I'd like to see him trying to get to better cover, and he's still poking his head back out. So he could have been spotted in that situation, and he's kind of lingering. So I'd like to see him find a better place to hole up and resupply, but I really like what he does here in going through the window, and he's trying to stay undetected, which is a really great thing. Now he's getting closer to being in a great position to defend this objective once it gets armed, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about his choice of weapon and his loadout. So as he gets better and better and more confident, what I want to challenge GUNNS to try is actually move to using the iron sights on his weapons. Now the AN-94 does not have the best iron sights. It can be a challenge, but once he reaches platinum, I would like to see him branch out and try and use some of the better assault rifles in the game. But first, I want to see the use of iron sights a little bit more, because the first spec can give you grenade upgrades. So if you're trying to defend an armed MCOM station, you have 2 grenades and 4 40mm grenades. Or later on, once he gets more familiar with the maps and the routes and the flanking, I think that the use of the lightweight kit in that spec slot would help him out a lot. So I really would like to see some variety there. He's using the red dot sight, which is helping him get some kills, but I think that, in his role as spawn point and to help his team out more, either grenade upgrades or the lightweight kit would be my preferred loadout to see him running on the assault kit. Also, back there, as GUNNS used D2.0, Destruction 2.0, to create himself a sneaky route through the houses to get closer to the objective, really like that play there. That's very heads up, and you can see that, he's trying to take advantage of what the game's giving him for tools in order to maximize his stealthy tactical gameplay, and I think that that's fantastic. Now, I know that I've put out a video recently around playing the objective, and he is helping his team out a great deal by providing them with a spawn point. And, if his team was not getting the job done in arming these objectives, then I would certainly criticize him and tell him to get off his ass and go arm it himself. However, that doesn't transpire in this game, so I think that he's really doing well at helping out his team. Here he's posting up too far back to be of any great benefit as a spawn point. He should at least move up to this next house before he takes his time to throw down an ammo pack and resupply. That's another thing that I've noticed, is that he's not always just dropping an ammo pack as soon as he spawns, as soon as he's around teammates waiting between the bases. He's dropping an ammo pack once he needs one himself. And that is, you want to focus on the team play. You can drop an ammo kit so that a few of your squad mates or teammates can resupply, and then once you get into a position where you need the assault kit, drop another one. That is actually going to make the other one disappear. So, back to weapon choices, and using the AN-94 with GUNNS' trigger finger, he's been very, very successful. And here we're kind of moving on towards the end of the game. This is actually a pretty neat vantage point to guard the A crate. I think you would have, if the defenders were pushing and were actively trying to disarm a little bit more, having the grenade upgrade to launch some more hand grenades at that crate would have been of great benefit. But I think that he's come a long way in a very short period of time and is doing really well. So, good on him. Now, let's talk a little bit about GUNNS. And I don't mean guns for hire, I mean the weapons that he's choosing to use in the game. So, to date, it's been nothing but the AN-94. And in migrating to weapons with better iron sights, I'd like to see him give the M416 and the XM8 prototype a try. Now, those are fully automatic weapons, but at long range, you want to burst fire them, very much like he's doing with the AN-94. So now that his trigger finger is trained to that burst pattern of 222-222, I'd like to see him adopt that same burst fire pattern on the XM8 or the M416. Try them both out and see which one he prefers. That's going to make him more of a threat in all ranges. So whether it's close quarters or at mid to long range, if you can burst fire those guns correctly, they are a threat at all ranges. Absolutely deadly. So I'd really like to see him mix up the arsenal and make himself more effective at close quarters for the event that he might have to go and to get off his ass and armor crate himself. And I'm going to make him do it in one of these games. I promise you guys. Anyway, that's it for me. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed the tips. And cheers. We'll talk soon.
Did you like this video? If you did, be sure to check out a couple of these. Here at the top on the gun shop, we have Guns for Hire giving us a follow-up video on his trip to Ireland for his Gamers Abroad series. And here in the middle, Spiderbite on NGT Zombies is playing Nocturne Totem solo, trying to see how far he can actually get. And at the bottom, on our NGT Minecraft channel, we have Bentley playing and building in our NGT Minecraft world. Be sure to click the corresponding thumbnails to watch the videos.